What's going on? Matt Savoca here from Awesemo.com, bringing you the Week 16 Monday Night Football Contenders video for FanDuel. This is Miami versus New Orleans, a 37-point total. Currently, Miami favored by 3.5 points here. Oh man, this could get ugly. This one with a backup quarterback, a third-string quarterback, starting for the Saints. Now, before we get into this one, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel so that you always know when we're going live. You guys know what to do. And if you could give me, Matt Savoca, a follow on Twitter at Draftaholic, that would be much appreciated as well. We'd also like to thank our presenting sponsor, No House Advantage. No House Advantage is offering player props contests for all major sports, and you can win cash right now. Download the app on the App Store or on Google Play, or go to nohouseadvantage.com. And when you sign up, use promo code Awesemo to get a first match deposit bonus of up to $25. It is so much fun over there. Hop in today. Okay, guys, on the screen here, you will see my 10 through 6 of my top players for this Miami versus New Orleans game. At number 10 is Jalen Waddle. And right now, our projections really on both sites, they're not very bullish for Jalen Waddle. On DraftKings, he doesn't even make the top 10, which really surprised me. But hey, we're trusting the math here. You know that there's a ceiling there. He's a target hog in some games, but he also disappears in some games. And the salary is pretty difficult, making the lineup construction pretty difficult for you going forward from there. Number 9 is Myles Gaskin, who was overshadowed by Duke Johnson, suddenly the backup running back in Miami. That's not necessarily someone we're going to be targeting, even though Miami is a favorite in this game. Gaskin is in the optimal lineup about 21% of the time. Then you have Traquan Smith at 22%. He is in that New Orleans passing attack, so you can't really say he's anything but a volatile option. He is at number 8. And number 7 is the kicker for the Miami Dolphins, Jason Sanders. And then number 6, we go back to that New Orleans passing attack again. Ian Book is starting. He's never thrown an NFL pass in a regular season game. We have no idea what to expect. So just like Traquan Smith, Callaway has a massive range of outcomes, and unfortunately, a lot of them are very, very poor range of outcomes. So Callaway comes into the optimal lineups 29% of the time, not quite making the top 5. Who does? Let's watch and find out. Number 5, it's Mike Gesicki, 10K salary, 9.5 fantasy point median projection here. And we know that the opportunity has been pretty solid of late for a player like Gesicki, who is not the number 1 option on his team, but is utilized just like a wide receiver would be. He's a tight end in position label only. His route participation rate and his slot snaps rank among the top tight ends in the league. So he's essentially a wideout out there. He got 8 targets last week, including 1 in the red zone, 11 targets, including 2 in the red zone a week before that, 12 catches over the last 2 weeks, despite only hitting 89 total receiving yards. Gesicki has touchdown upside, although the matchup is tough. 24th ranked offense versus the 2nd ranked defense in New Orleans right now. But Gesicki has a pretty solid ceiling here, getting over 25 fantasy points in 4.6% of our simulations, and he's the optimal MVP play over 11% of the time in our latest run of sims. Surprised to see Gesicki with that big boost compared to number 6 Callaway at 29%. He's in the optimal lineup 46% of the time. At number 4, it's Devante Parker. And Devante Parker is another one in this Miami pass attack that our projections and our tools are leading you towards, as opposed to Jalen Waddle. It just makes the overall construction of your lineup a little bit easier. Parker has been utilized well in his 2 games back from injury. Last week against the Jets, 8 targets, including 2 in the red zone. The week before that, 5 targets, catching all 5. He's had over 60 yards receiving in both games here. A big red zone threat for Tua Tagovailoa, getting over 25 fantasy points in 7.8% of our latest simulations. He's the optimal MVP play at 10,500 in salary, 13.7% of the time. That's pretty high, and over a third of our simulations have Parker in an optimal flex spot. Over basically a coin flip chance for Devante Parker to be in the optimal lineup. He's number 4 with a 52% chance of being a top play this week. At number 3, it's Alvin Kamara, and by a mile, he is the safest skill position player on either side of the ball in this game. And no analysis needs to tell you that, but Kamara has 25 opportunity upside, and you could see a game where he gets 30 opportunities like he did against the Jets 2 games ago. Now, in that game, Mark Ingram was absent. Ingram is expected to play. Ty Montgomery might also mix in as well. But with Ian Book starting at quarterback, you know that the Saints are going to trust Kamara to try to win this game. Right now, they're 3.5-point underdogs, but that means that they're within 1 score. If Kamara breaks off a run or 2, the game script suddenly gets much, much easier for this rookie quarterback. So Kamara should have the touches 13.1% of the time. He's the optimal MVP in our simulations, even though he has a $16,500 salary. That is pretty steep. 41% of the time, he's an optimal flex play. Again, even though this looks like a bad matchup for Kamara, at least game environment wise, the Saints are the number 25 ranked offense via PFF offensive grades. That's before Ian Book is starting, as opposed to Trevor Siemian or, oh my gosh, Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston, as they've had so far this year. The 8th ranked defense is no joke too for the Miami side. So Kamara does have some downside. In 36% of our simulations, he is under 10 fantasy points, but you're going for that ceiling. 25% of the time, he's over 25 fantasy points, and 54% of the time, just ahead of Devante Parker, he's in the optimal lineup this Monday night. Number 2, it's Ian Book, quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, 4th starting quarterback for this Saints team this year. It's been a wild ride, and this could be the wildest of them all. Yeah, this team has a 17-point implied total right now with Book, their 4th round pick in 2021. Slated to start right now. Everyone else on the COVID-19 list, and you're still seeing 25 fantasy point game in 28% of our current simulations. And to be honest, I think that's a little generous. I think the median projection of 14.6 fantasy points is a little generous, but that's what the math is showing right now. And if you believe that projection to be somewhat true, then at that 12,000 salary, Book is a very enticing offer. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the distribution of outcomes here, leaning much more towards the left there than the right, showing you that the range of outcomes, mostly a lot of floor outcomes for Book, not a whole lot of ceiling outcomes. But he is a quarterback on a 1-game slate. We often target them simply because of the guaranteed volume. He is an optimal flex play 57% of the time. You got to have some gumption if you want to start him as the optimal MVP, but a surprising 17.6% of our sims show him as an optimal MVP. Book is in the optimal lineup 3/4 of the time. Before I reveal my final play, my number 1 play on FanDuel for Week 16 Monday Night Football, just want to remind you guys, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel so that you always know when we're going live, and if you could give me, Matt Savoca, a follow on Twitter at Draftaholic, that would be much appreciated. Also, leave a comment below. Which of these have been your favorite plays of mine? Which of these have been your least favorite? Who have I left off that I'm going to regret come Tuesday morning here? Also, like to shout out our presenting sponsor one more time, No House Advantage. Download the app on the App Store or Google Play, or go to nohouseadvantage.com. Use promo code Awesemo to get a first match deposit bonus of up to $25. Okay, guys, let's dig into the number 1 play on FanDuel for this Monday night game. At number 1, you should not be surprised to see Tua Tagovailoa number 1 on this list. He is in the optimal lineup 77% of the time here, and that's because he's the only starting quarterback on this 1-game slate available to us. We're going to take the high raw fantasy points in a game where we could see fantasy points in general come at a premium. And Tagovailoa has actually led a very interesting Miami Dolphins offense this year. In game script adjusted passing rate, the Dolphins are actually top 10 in the league. But in game script adjusted pace of play, these are all available in our our advanced stats tool on Awesemo.com. They're bottom 10 in the league. They're still keeping things slow and deliberate, even though they throw the 8th most passes per game of any team in the NFL. And Tagovailoa has been accurate in clutch situations. He's number 1 in deep ball completion percentage and number 1 in red zone completion percentage. He's number 2 in the NFL in true completion percentage, which factors out all drops and throwaways. Really impressive stuff from an accuracy standpoint, but he's still just 19th in adjusted yards per attempt and 17th in fantasy points per game at his position. And the matchup isn't that easy. It's the 24th ranked offense versus the number 2 defense in PFF's team defensive grade. So I think Tagovailoa makes the most sense as a flex play. That's where you see him in the optimal lineup 55.9% of the time. He is showing up 21.5% of the time as an optimal MVP. I might be a little bit below the field on that, but look at that ceiling score, over 25 fantasy points nearly a third of the time, and a 16.7 fantasy point median projection. That's pretty solid value as well. Tua Tagovailoa, the number 1 play on an ugly Monday night slate. That's going to do it for our Monday night FanDuel top 10 plays for week 16, Miami versus New Orleans. Hey, these two teams are 1 game out of their respective final conference playoff spots. So this game actually means a whole lot for both sides. I don't know if that necessarily translates to a lot of fantasy scoring, but it should be an exciting matchup. If you're looking for the DraftKings version of this video, it's around here somewhere. Go ahead and look around for it on the channel. I will be back. We won't be back Thursday. We'll be talking the main slate because there is no Thursday night football this season. We will be back soon enough. Until then, I am Matt Savoca from Awesemo.com. We'll see you guys next time.